Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Jasminejaedsjournals. In today's video, I'll be talking about my first ever solo trip to Thailand and what that was like. I went for a total of 10 days and I don't know who gave me the audacity to fly halfway around the world, but I literally said go big or go home. So once I had arrived at my hotel, I checked in, and as it was quite late in the evening, I headed up to the rooftop restaurant and had myself a little cute dinner. My first full day, I headed into Old Phuket town, and my first stop was Karankaf, which is this beautiful pink aesthetic flower cafe. Everything inside is pink and very cutesy. I ordered myself a watermelon smoothie, which was very refreshing. Alongside, I got this traditional Thai dish, which was like a rice pudding with lumps of fruit. It wasn't the best thing I had, but I did try my best to eat some of it. And then after that, I decided to take a walk around town. I walked along some of the most famous roads like Thalang Road. Lunchtime, I began to get a bit hungry and I stumbled across this restaurant. I initially went in just to get a mango smoothie, but I was greeted with a warm smile, a menu, table and a chair. So I decided to sit down as it was so hot outside. I ended up ordering myself some stir-fried chicken with chili and basil and some rice on the side. I ended up speaking with the manager's daughter and she was giving me some of the recommendations. As I didn't want to just see the most touristy parts of the island, I also wanted to see what the locals do. So in the evening, I decided to get myself ready and head down to Bangla Road. It is very known for its red light district. In the evenings, all the open stalls tend to shut down. Keep that in mind if you are traveling with some younger children. I kind of just went straight to some night markets and I was browsing around, seeing what was going on. And then I headed to McDonald's and ordered myself a little bit of a snack as I started getting a bit hungry. I finally made it to a 7-Eleven that had the cheese toastie. Now, I was kind of sworn into this thing that if you go to Thailand, you must try the cheese toastie. When I had that cheese toastie, I was like, okay, I really understood the hype. It actually was pretty good. And considering it can be as cheap as like 29 baht, 19 baht, depending on which 7-Eleven you go to, it's a must try. If you're in Thailand or Southeast Asia, you must try the cheese toastie. And you are now sworn into it as well. Literally just see me going, all right, do you know what? I got the hype. It was actually pretty decent. And I ended up eating so many of those during my whole trip. The next day, I went to Elephant Jungle Sanctuary, which was such an amazing experience. I ended up pre-booking the shower and feed package, which was a combination of getting to observe, feed and interact with the elephants at a safe distance. It's very important that you do your research before making bookings with excursion companies to make sure that they are ethical. Shortly after arriving, we had our introduction and our safe and health check. The lady showed us how to make some of the elephant food balls, which was a combination of rice, proteins, bananas, fiber seeds, and a traditional herb, which I will list here on the screen. After heading over, we were able to interact with the elephants in a safe distance. We were feeding them some watermelon and some sugarcane. It was obviously really important to observe the elephant's space and make sure that you're speaking with the one-to-ones to ensure that you're not overstepping or making the elephant feel uncomfortable, as this is their home and we are a guest in their house. I really enjoyed this experience, and the most fun part was actually being able to make my own food balls and feed the elephants. Again, I was smelling it because I was like, what even is this? And it was literally just like a giant protein ball. Shortly after that, we headed back, had another chat, and we all got into our swimwear. We then had a time slot to wash the elephants down, and it was just such a wholesome experience, very grounding. On my way to Thailand, I sadly broke one of my nails, so I headed over to Olivia's nail bar in Old Phuket town. I was able to book an appointment and she was restoring my toenail. I found the service very smooth, very easy, and I low-key wish I actually got some of my beauty services while I was out there. I really wanted to have a chilled one. So I started off with some breakfast before heading over to Kamala Beach. I decided to take the shuttle that ran from the hotel. At one point it did start to rain, but lucky for me I came prepared. I had my raincoat and I literally just popped that on my head. By the time it had finished, it only lasted about 30 minutes as it was the beginning of monsoon season. I ended up staying on the beach until sunset. So I ended up stopping off at this restaurant. The lady made me this chicken pad thai and then I ordered this like really cute blue cocktail. At the end of each night, I ended up vlogging what my day was like and I found the whole experience just quite fun and I fell in love with the process of filming, and I think that was part of getting my inspiration to actually make my YouTube channel. The next day, I went on the Phi Phi boat island tour and it was just amazing. So I ended up booking with this company called Phuket Sales Tours, which funnily enough, my mum and my aunt had booked 7 or 8 years ago. And as I was traveling alone and safety was very important to me, I just thought, let me just book with a trusted representative company. I was picked up at my hotel and given breakfast. I ended up meeting Captain Mark, who is the sole owner of Phuket Sales Tours. Him and his team were great. They were super friendly and very accommodating to everybody. What I liked most about Phuket Sales Tours is it wasn't overcrowded. It was very much a private boat tour. Everybody had enough seats on the boat. Nobody was standing over each other. Our first stop was Maya Bay Beach and it was absolutely stunning. It's very famous for the beach movie. I ended up getting some amazing pictures. Anna was literally like my hype man. He was getting all the angles. And what I also loved is it was just the genuinity. Like the team generally wanted to make sure you had a good time. We headed over to the Phi Phi Lee and the Phi Phi Lagoons where we was doing some snorkeling. The water was so clear. It's been one of the best waters I've seen since the Mediterranean, and you can literally see from the top all the way down. I really enjoyed the snorkeling. It was part of the excursion. After that, we headed over to Monkey Island. They were so cute, but we were told not to feed the animals, yet you see people feeding them. So we ended up moving off to our own private island where we ended up sun lounging and just chilling. And I was literally like, this is the break that I've been needing. Shortly after, we headed off to the Phi Phi Don Island where we were able to have some lunch. My favourite meal that I ate in Thailand was the fried cashew nut with rice. To me, it's just 10 out of 10. If you're looking for someone to book with Phuket Sales Tours. You will not be disappointed. Make sure you end up booking the Phi Phi Islands tours because the pictures just don't do it justice. Later that evening, I headed over to the cinema where I booked myself a first class ticket to watch Deadpool and Wolverine. I was able to have access to a lounge 1 hour before the movie started where I was given unlimited food and drinks, and I had the whole place to myself as I was the only one there. I had access to hot drinks, cold drinks. They brought me an alcohol beverage to my table. When arriving to my seat, I was welcomed with a bag of popcorn, another drink, and a fresh blanket. I was literally blown away. On Sunday morning, I was invited back to Phuket Sales Tours for a content creation day. Captain Max sent a car for me, and after shortly arriving, we were given some breakfast, and I was just filming some of the background scenes with the crew. The captain who was driving the boat got out of his seat and said, "Sit down." I said, "Huh?" I was like, "Wait a minute." He was like, "No, sit down, you can drive the boat." So here's me in the middle of Thailand, and I'm just driving the boat. And when my kids asked me, "Mom, what was you doing in your 20s?" Your mom was driving a boat. We ended up heading over to the James Bond Island, which is famous for the man with the golden gun. I ended up meeting this South African family who were traveling with their young daughter. They were so cool, so vibes, and we're still in contact. Jack was just so adorable and so funny. Throughout the trip, it was just literally me and him, the 2-o duo. And there was a moment where I was literally just like taking all the content and Jack was like steady rowing the canoe behind me and I was just doing soft life. I literally was like, this is Passenger Princess. This is princess treatment at its finest. And we ended up going to Hong Island, where we had to canoe up to a point and then get out and then walk through the cave. Now, silly me was not listening when Jack was like, mind your head. Your girl literally walked straight into the top of the cave and just banged my head on the ceiling. And then you literally hear Jack laughing, and I was like, Jack, are you laughing at me? Like, are you laughing at me? And he was just cracking up, guys. It was just one of those surreal moments where I was like, I'm standing in the middle of a mangrove, in the middle of the ocean, in the middle of Thailand. What even is that? I love to get some of the footage with the team. I was showing Jack how to do some of the introduction videos. We was grabbing lots of content. The chef on the boat had been cooking all afternoon and she made some of the most divine food. You can see that there was a whole table spread. My personal favorite was the Thai chicken curry and potatoes. Like throughout my whole trip, I was just eating so many different things. I ended up having some waffles and ice cream at one point. On Monday, I started my day off with some breakfast before heading over to the spa. I booked myself a Grab cab and I ended up heading over to Promthep, which is one of the recommendations the restaurant owner's daughter gave me. After I had seen Promthep, I headed over to the Big Buddha. Now, when you are at places of worship, it is really important to make sure that you dress respectfully and you dress modestly. So when we was there, it was important not to have your shoulders out or any of your knees showing. They do sell sarongs, but I came prepared. I ended up bringing my dress I brought back in Morocco, and even the security guard gave me the once all head nod after I put the abaya on, and I had so many different compliments from passers-by. I ended up bumping into this group of black women and it was just instantly vibes. Like we were just bounced off each other's energy, we're just talking, laughing. I ended up taking a couple photos for them. The moment that stuck to me most was when she's turned around and she was like, so what's your YouTube handle? And to her surprise, I was like, I don't have one. And she was like, what do you mean you don't have YouTube? The way you talk, you are so engaging. Like, I could listen to you. And for me, I was like, this is a complete stranger. I know we're vibing, I know we're like joking around and just talking. But when somebody sees that in you, I'm like, okay, this is divine intervention. This is a sign. And I was like, do you know what? Noted. When I got home, I knew that I was in the makings of getting my YouTube channel up. But I just wanted to note that there are quite a few stairs. So if you do struggle with some mobility challenges, definitely take that into consideration and plan ahead. Once I'd finished up at the Big Buddha, I started making my way down the hill and I stopped off at this cute cafe that had loads of cool artwork and I grabbed myself a milkshake. I ended up heading over to the Madoboa Cafe, which was one of my favourite places I visited in Thailand. It is Instagram and TikTok famous for its lily pad cafe, and the ambience and aesthetic alone was just breathtaking. So me being me, I was the first one to arrive and I checked myself in. I decided to get myself a green tea while I was waiting to get called up for my video and photo shoot, which only cost £23. It was such a unique experience. So when I was on the boat, one of the team members was dressing my hair up for the photo and he was like, your hair is just so cool, and it was just nice. Like, the team were really chill, they were super professional, and the drone photo shoot literally took under 10 minutes to do. It was super important as well that I checked out some of the local artisans. Make sure when you are buying, it's better to buy in bulk as you end up saving money, and try not to haggle too much. If you can afford it, don't haggle past the point where it's actually insulting. As it was my last full day in Thailand, I headed over to the Three Monkeys restaurant and I finally got myself some mango sticky rice. It was worth the hype. The whole place just had like a nice jungle fever. After I finished up at Three Monkeys, I headed over to Little Ink Studio and I got my first ever tattoo. They were super friendly, very professional in there. I really liked the fact that the whole place was clean. We ended up doing my design and then we were like placing it. I wasn't happy with the placing, so we did it again and your girl just got her first tattoo. If I had to sum up the trip, The word amazing is what I would say 100 times over. And having the tattoo was just a little commemoration of how special and how close to my heart this trip was. If you are looking for somewhere to go, definitely check out Thailand and Southeast Asia because it's super affordable, it's budget friendly. I have so much information on my blog website. If you are looking to travel to Thailand, make sure you check out Jasminejaedsjournals. Some of the safety measures I took while I was on holiday was making sure that I was always connected to family and friends. I shared my location and I always kept my AirTag on me at all times. While I was traveling, I also made sure I had a backup phone just in case my phone got broken, lost, or stolen. Thailand was literally everything and more. It was amazing. The whole experience was just so special to me. Everything will be listed down below, from the hotel I stayed at to restaurants I visited and excursions I booked. Make sure to check out my blog page if you want some more information about how to travel to Thailand. And if you want my itinerary, make sure you click this blog here. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!